Good afternoon, Facebook friends and YouTube followers. This is Rich again, back for your second video blog of the day for September 12, 2014, around 6 p.m. It's sunny out in Billerica, Massachusetts. It's around 70 degrees or so. Some news to report. It's Happy National Milkshake Day in the United States. And also, Orioles first baseman Chris Davis got suspended by Major League Baseball for 25 games for testing positive for an amphetamine. And also, the WWE is in talk with Warner Brothers Studios about acquiring the WWE tape library from them. These has interesting possibilities, which I will share with you in a future one of these video blogs. Okay? And my next subject is the Richard Dawson version of Family Feud, which was the most popular version of the game show. Family Feud, hosted by Richard Dawson, lasted from 1976 through 1985 on ABC. There was a syndicated version that lasted from 1977 through 1985, which was distributed by Viacom Productions. And 1994 and 1995, Richard Dawson hosted Family Feud again after making a comeback. Family Feud was produced by Mark Goodson and Bill Todman Productions. The idea of Family Feud came from one of the writers for the staff of Mark Goodson and Bill Todman Production. They were developing a game show which was going to be titled Fast Money, which was the bonus round of Family Feud. Fast Money, there was going to be a game, Fast Money, which like two contestants will face off against each other with a celebrity partner, and they would answer fast questions for money for the most points to win the game, and they would go on to a bonus round for big prize. Mark Goodson liked that idea, but he retooled it for like the survey, the audience match questions on Family Feud, on Match Game, and then he decided this was going to be called Family Feud, and he looked for a Family Feud host. He considered names like Jeff Edwards, Jack Nas, and actor William Shatner, but he selected Richard Dawson to host Family Feud. Richard Dawson was a panelist on Match Game, and he wanted to host Family Feud. He says, "I'll continue to do Match Game if you renew my contract, and also I get to host Family Feud." They did a pilot for Family Feud. ABC liked it, and on July 12, 1976, it aired at 1:30 in the afternoon on ABC Daytime. The premise of Family Feud was two families facing off each other in a series of rounds to accumulate 200 or more points to win the game. And it was a survey questions. 100 people surveyed, top X amount of answers on the board. Try to find the most popular. And some of the questions were good answers, which were on the board, but other times the answers were ridiculous or wrong or sometimes funny, but that was part of the game. And after the winning families would go on to Fast Money for $5,000 if they got 200 or more points, or get less than 200 points, they got $5 a point. And Family Feud started to gain popularity in the ratings and stuff. It soon became the #1 daytime game show in all of network television. Richard Dawson became a very good host of Family Feud because of his humor and his comedic talents. Before the show, before the game, he introduced the families. The families gave him gifts and stuff, either t-shirts, hats, whatever, etc. And he would always kiss the female members of the families, and he became the kissing bandit, and that got him so popular. Richard Dawson kissed them for good luck and stuff, like his mother did to him when he was younger. And Family Feud got so popular, there was a syndicated version that started in September 18th, 1977, distributed by Viacom once a week. That became the #1 syndicated game show in the country, and then it became 2 nights a week by January 1979, and 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, September 1980, and was shown on many NBC owned and operated stations and many NBC stations throughout the country, including WBZ in Boston, which was an NBC affiliate back in the day. And Family Feud continued to grow in popularity, they started a all-star version of Family Feud on ABC primetime during like the spring of 1978, after a successful like soap opera like All-Star Family Feud happened in the daytime version during Valentine's Day week 1978, which the soap stars from like daytime soaps competed for charity, and that garnered high ratings. So ABC decided to have a nighttime version, primetime version for the network. Originally, it was consisted of the cast of ABC shows like The Love Boat, Three's Company, Angie, Welcome Back, Carter, and others. And soon, other networks like NBC and CBS send this like cast of their series to be on the nighttime version of the All-Star Family Feud, and it garnered high ratings and stuff, and they play for charity, but eventually it ended up the TV series did not stop sending a cast, and it was basically kind of one of the mill like Family Feud All-Star versions with like celebrities, which always would appear on game shows, which celebrity driven, on playing for charity. Family Feud, that's when the ratings went down, and ABC stopped doing it in like the spring of 1984. And Family Feud continued to get popular. Richard Dawson was a household name. He actually Family Feud was spoofed in Saturday Night Live. Richard Dawson appeared in a spoof of Family Feud called Family Food on Sesame Street, and Richard Dawson also guest hosted The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson several times in the late 70s and early 80s. And it was rumors he was going to be the host of The Tonight Show, starring if Johnny Carson left The Tonight Show, which was almost a possibility around 1980 because the negotiations were almost stalled and Richard Dawson was almost in line to get that host, but Johnny Carson re-upped, and Richard Dawson stayed on Family Feud, and Richard Dawson won many awards for Best Emmy game show host and others, and the popularity of Family Feud continued, even though for 4 years, from 1980 to 1984, it got the death noontime slot, but many ABC affiliates showed Family Feud that at 11:30 in the morning before the noon news, including WCVB Channel 5 in Boston, and actually the noon news at WCVB TV Boston got high ratings because of the lead in A Family Feud. And around 1981, Richard Dawson met his future wife Gretchen on the show with her family, they were contestants on the show, and Richard Dawson liked Gretchen so much that they went out to dinner, and then they started dating, and then they eventually got married. Around maybe 1982, 1983, the Family Feud was some problems because Richard Dawson was kind of out of control backstage with his ego and stuff. The head producer, Howard Fleshman, who was the top producer for Goods and Todman from the studio, from like Family Feud. Eventually, Howard Fleshman kind of resigned from Goods and Todman for a time, and also Richard Dawson's won a contract demands, or he would have quit the show, and he got that contract demands around 1984. So Family Feud's ratings were peaking, bottoming in and out. They want the even syndications, and their like syndication rating were dropping down. Wheel of Fortune became the number one syndicated game show, and also the number one syndicated show around that time. And the producers of Family Feud made some changes. They had now 400 points to win the game, but that took out most of the humor and the introduction of families. So they had to tape it at breakneck speeds to get the show on schedule, on time for it to air. And also ABC moved Family Feud from the noontime death slot to 11 a.m. in like the summer of 1984 to face Price is Right, but that crushed the ratings. And by the winter of 1985, ABC notified Goodson Tallman Productions that they're canceling Family Feud by the beginning of summer of 1985, and Viacom Productions renewed Family Feud for a ninth season, but they gave a cancellation notice as well, and the syndicated version ended in spring of 1985, and Family Feud aired for the last time on June 14th, 1985 on ABC after over 2,300 shows. In the 1986 season, there were so many stations that signed up for the last season of another season of Family Feud in syndication. Those stations received a Best of Family Feud syndication, the Best of Family Feud syndication shows, but those shows tanked in the ratings, and many of the stations signed up for that put it in the back burner. Richard Dawson basically retired from show business after Family Feud ended in 1985. He appeared in Running Man as an evil game show host, and a pilot for You Bet Your Life for NBC, a revived version from the classic game show hosted by Groucho Marx in the 50s, but they didn't sell, and Richard Dawson retired, got married to Gretchen. They had a daughter named Shannon Nicole, born in 1991. Family Feud was revived in 1988 for CBS and syndicated, hosted by Ray Combs, and it did decent ratings and stuff, but by 1993, the CBS version was canceled. The syndicated version was doing all right in the ratings, but it was floundering, but many stations signed up for another season, 1994, 1995, and also Mark Goodson passed away in December 1992. His son Jonathan Goodson took over the production of Family Feud, and he decided to bring Richard Dawson back as host of Family Feud to save the show for 1994, 1995, firing Ray Combs. But there were changes, like the set of Family Feud became computerized, and it was an hour-long show. Like the first half hours, two families feuding with each other, but now down to 4 members of each family, and they faced off against the second half of the show with families from the Richard Dawson era on ABC and syndication, and it was like not that great. And also, Richard Dawson did not kiss the ladies because his daughter was born Shannon, and Shannon never saw Richard kiss another lady besides her mother, Gretchen. And the show was preempted a lot because of the O.J. Simpson trial in many markets, and it was seen on WSBK TV 38. It was good to see Richard Dawson back as Family Feud host, but this just didn't help, and it got canceled in 1995 due to low ratings. Reruns of Family Feud, the Richard Dawson version, have been seen on Game Show Network for many, many, many years. Currently, it's off the air. You don't see Richard Dawson's version of Family Feud anymore on GSN, but it should be back sooner or later. We could live without like a Steve Harvey one, or a John O'Hurley one, or a Richard Kahn one. Bring back Richard Dawson's version of Family Feud, which is the best version of Family Feud of all time. Richard Dawson passed away in 2012 at the age of 79 due to esophagus cancer. Well, that's about it on the Richard Dawson Family Feud version. I'll be back for my third and final video blog of the night about NHL play-by-play announcer for NBC and NBCSN, Mike Doc Emrick. See you later, Facebook friends and YouTube followers.